Hi. Hi there. Good to see you again. You guys probably want an update on the Chevelle. Last time we talked, we just got this thing rolling. It was really hot that day. I don't want to do much. Sorry. And I was a little vague with some information. We'll fill you in on some of the things in this video that help make more sense of kind of why the engine had dirt on it and yeah, things like that. Anyways, why don't we clean under the hood real quick, get all that dirt off in there, and let's see if this motor turns over. I want to see if we can actually use this engine again. It looks horrible, but I think there's a chance. So, want to get to work with me? All right, you decide. I've enlisted help today from a child of my own. He's going to help me do the vacuuming while I pick out big rocks. That is a turd.
Ew.
Is that your turd?
A cat turd?
Oh good, it all got sucked up. Brother, ooh. Brother, ooh.
Another cat turd stuck to it.
There's another cat turd. Ah! Don't touch it.
Cat turd. Right now? Now. Okay, hi. We're back working on the Chevelle today. We're actually going to start cleaning things like I said we would. Let's spray off the engine bay. Here?
Yep, go.
I can spray the tailgate.
Yeah. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, the engine bay is cleaner. It's not completely clean, but it's cleaner. You can see the engine now. That's really cool. Yeah. And because of that, now I can show you guys some really cool stuff, like why the engine bay was covered in dirt. And why don't we get right into that? So if you look right down here at this fancy thing called a fuel pump, you'll notice it looks pretty melted. Well, that's because at one point it lit on fire. And where the car was on fire, they had no way to put it out with water. They had no water, fire extinguishers, anything like that, to where they could put the fire out on that fuel pump. And so the only thing they could do was take a tractor and fill the engine bay full of dirt. It might have been a tractor. One guy said it could have been shoveled in there. Either way, they took dirt and filled the engine bay full of it just so they could extinguish the fire. And so if you're curious why everything was full of dirt, that's why. But now we're nice and pretty. At least kind of pretty. We're not full of dirt everywhere now that you look. That's kind of cool. And one of the things that we kind of saw when we did this, after we got it all cleaned up, check this out. The hoses are original to the car. A lot of guys are going to say, how do you know that's original? Well, if you look right here, there's the build date. So this hose is manufactured what looks like 3/19 of 1970, which to me would indicate this is probably the original radiator hose for this car, which is crazy because it's still pliable. It's still half decent. They also still have the underhood decals that still show pretty well considering. The other crazy thing is it still has almost all of its original hose clamps, which is pretty wild to me, considering this thing's from 1970. Yeah, I think that's pretty neat. So there's gonna be a lot of things that we need to replace on this engine though, in order to get it running, if we can get it running. We gotta try to turn this thing over here in a second. We already pulled the belt off, as you can see, sitting right there. Because we were trying to spin it with the belt and we couldn't get the engine to move, which really scared us, only to realize that the water pump's locked up. And then so that's a no-go. Also, the alternator has become a dirt shooting machine. So if you look right here off the back of it, you can see the dirt ejection system that's been created by the alternator. That's cool. Well, we're probably gonna have to replace that too. And we definitely have some work ahead of us, but first we need to find out, does this engine spin over? All right, let's find out right now. All right, boys and girls, the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's see if this engine spins over, shall we? All right, I got you kind of positioned so you can see the crank pulley, and I'm gonna climb underneath this thing and try not to knock you over. Maybe I'll see you down there. Wow. All right, let's hop on here, and let's see if this thing spins. It moves. It moves. Ah! The engine moves. The engine moves. She spins free. All right. I'm not gonna turn that too much, but a little more. A little more. Oh, that's enough. One more time. All right. Well, that's awesome. That's a heck of a start. Woo! All right. The engine is free and spinning. Well, maybe let's get some parts together and try to get it running, shall we? Woo! All right, one thing I thought you guys would love to see on this show is a parts showcase. Kind of, what are we going to use? What are we going to use to put it back together? And so in front of me, I've assembled all the parts that I've been gathering over the last 2 weeks. So if you're wondering what's been taking me so long, I kind of need parts. And I don't want to spend a ton of money. I'm not rich. This car was not a lot of money. As you could tell, it's not exactly a masterpiece. And so I'm going to budget build a lot of this car because that's what I can afford. And hey, maybe later on we'll do something sweet with it, but for now, let's just get it running. And so let's showcase some of the ways that I've been able to do that. A lot of the hard parts that are new that you see here all came from Rock Auto. I do believe in Rock Auto because their parts are cheap and they are good quality. So everything that I managed to get from Rock Auto, simply intake manifold gaskets, right? Heater hoses, both the sets of heater hoses. I just bought the universal 6-foot links We'll cut them into whatever length we need and throw them on the car. We got both upper and lower radiator hoses right here. Those came from Rock Auto. We have a new Carter fuel pump. We also have a brand new Gates water pump assembly. We have an AC Delco alternator assembly. It is a remanufactured unit, but it is pretty, I'll give you that. All right, let's see if we can move it out of the box. And show you guys. But she's a good looking unit. And we also got AC Delco spark plug wires to fit the original distributor. Plan on keeping it for now. Unless we have problems, maybe we'll swap it out later. But for now, I got plug wires to fit the factory distributor. I also got a factory set of AC Delco spark plugs. And those all came from Rock Auto. And I think total money spent on all those parts is shipped to the door was like $134. For all that, that's a heck of a deal and gets you pretty far on your project car. And so that is why I like using them. And I'm not trying to sponsor them. They're not paying for this. I used a lot of their parts for a long time and they've done me really well. So I might as well give them a hand up on that. And so to replace a lot of the other parts, the more expensive parts, Marketplace, yes. And so first off, we have a ProForm air cleaner assembly with wing. And we bought that from some gentleman for 20 bucks one day. Next up, we have an Edelbrock 600 CFM with a manual choke assembly. And we picked that up from somebody for $125. I don't even think it needs to be rebuilt. It's a pretty clean unit. We're gonna find out. We have to rebuild it? Guess what? Another episode. And then we have an Edelbrock Performer RPM manifold. We picked that up for 110. The last little bits sitting up here is a new set of intake manifold bolts because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna snap at least 2 or 3 of those off in the heads, taking them off. And a new set of nipples for the intake and water pump. Nipples. Yeah. Anyway, so total spent 110, 125, 20, 134. So what are we looking at? What's my basic math say? I think we're right around $400 for most of the hard parts that we're gonna need. Now I did order some more stuff from Summit Racing. That's gonna be here later this week. Just a little doodad odds and ends that I know I'm gonna need. And I'll showcase that whenever I get them. But for the most part, this is probably what we're gonna use to swap this stuff onto the engine and hopefully get it running. Last things I'll need are probably battery cables or ends for the battery cables, along with a new battery. And we're just gonna run this thing off a gas can for now because we're gonna have to probably replace the tank. More than likely the tank's coming out of this thing. But this is a good start and it's not a whole lot of money. And that's all we're trying to do here is not spend a ton of money and make a classic car run again. The interior, that's gonna cost a little bit more money when we get to that. Wheels, I have $200 in the wheels and tires for now. The guy even threw in the lug nuts, so which was awesome. That's actually the same dude I bought the intake manifold from. So, I mean, shop around, people. Find the best deals you can to get these things back on the road. They don't need to be new parts. They don't need to be fancy. They just need to run. And hopefully with that, the next time I see you guys, this car's running. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, send it to your friends, whatever. I don't care. It's just for fun, man. I'm not looking to make $1 million off this. I just want to have some memories. Thanks for coming along with me. I appreciate it. Have a good day.